It's the Bengals just barely beating your Raiders, Reid, and now head to Tennessee as just 3-point underdogs. Is that spread a little too low, Fowler? I mean, maybe there'll be no phantom whistles this time.
Don't get me started. I'm sure we'll get into it on Wednesday's Slate show because there's some stuff to talk about. But I digress. I think this is fine right now. Right? I think it's a little high. I just take a look at what Cincinnati can do. And I know Geoff's going to mention how Tennessee is going to win the Super Bowl, so he's going to say this is way too low. But you're looking at a Cincinnati team that is able to score in bunches and score quickly, right? The one thing that scares me, and I'm sure Geoff, again, is going to talk about this, Tennessee is the number one run blocking offense in DVOA on footballoutsiders.com. And Cincy's run defense is kind of middle of the pack. They're a little suspect against Josh Jacobs, right? 13, I think he averaged about 6.8 yards per attempt. That does scare me. Tennessee should beat Cincinnati if they stick to that game plan of running the ball and then also featuring a guy like A.J. Brown going against Eli Apple. And that is a mismatch, and a match made in heaven for Tennessee. So I'll say it's a little high right now, but I can see why it's creeping up.
All right, Geoff, go ahead. Defend your Titans here because I know that was your preseason bet.
Reid is so wrong. All I was going to say is that I saw an interesting tweet the other day about Nick Foles having more playoff wins than Derek Carr. That's all I was going to say. But, as far as this game goes, I will say that like the Titans are getting a little bit disrespected here, but I don't think this line should be egregiously higher. I mean, even at 4, you have to give the Bengals some respect here just because of the quality of the offense. And look, the Titans, I like them as a team. I do think they're going to win this game, and it's mainly going to be because of their defense, which is getting a higher turnover rate, a higher pressure rate. And I think that Joe Burrow still just, one bad throw a game kind of thing, and that could be the difference. And Reid brings up a good point about A.J. Brown. But the Titans are also a team who, they lost to the Steelers 4 weeks ago. I mean, they very close games against like Houston and San Francisco. So I don't think that the Bengals should be any bigger than 4-point underdogs here. It's a little bit low for me at -3. I would definitely side with the Titans. I shouldn't say probably. I would definitely side with the Titans, but I don't think that this line is egregious or anything. I think these two teams are still close. I just feel like the Titans, with the consistency they've shown on defensive late, they deserve to be slightly bigger favorites.
Reid, it's now 3.5 on the DK Sportsbook. Does that change anything for you?
Oh, that's what I was talking about. At 3.5, right? You kind of have to side with Cincinnati. Look, this is a Cinderella team, and we see this all the time. We see this with the Packers, the Giants, with Cincinnati. And look, what Geoff's talking about, I think we take so much stock into what these guys do in the regular season and not what they're doing or the foundational, pieces that they have in the playoffs. And Tennessee, look, Mike Vrabel is a fantastic coach. But you also got to give, a lot of credit to what Joe Burrow and what these guys are doing. Yes, they're young, and yes, they probably got a little lucky last week in terms of how they're able to do it. But at the same time, like I think you can probably wait if you want to take Cincinnati. You want to take Tennessee, wait until the market kind of adjusts and goes back to believing in Cincinnati at 2.5 or 3 even, or 3 or even 2.5 if it gets below that number.
Yeah, Cincinnati is a public team too with Joe Burrow, so I don't think the spread is going to get too high.